I just spent 400,000 credit card points on a trip to Asia. So in this video, I'm gonna show you exactly what I booked. So most people think luxury Asia trip requires thousands of dollars, but if you have the right point strategy, you can afford some business class and luxury hotels for what some people pay for a trip to Hawaii. My name is Max. I help people maximize their air miles, hotel points, and credit card points. If you want more content like this, remember to like and subscribe button down below, and let's get started. So here's the thing. West Coast to Asia is pretty challenging, at least for me, because I live in San Diego. So a lot of our travel starts out of LAX because that's where the best points award availability is. And that means catching a brutal 6 a.m. flight from San Diego up to LAX. Delta operates a pretty short flight, a very short flight from San Diego up to LAX. And it's bookable through Air France KLM Flying Blue for 5,000 Flying Blue points. The way that works is that Delta is part of the SkyTeam Alliance, and Air France and KLM are also part of the SkyTeam Alliance. That means I can book Delta flights through Air France and KLM's Flying Blue. And so that's how I typically book my repositioning flight up from San Diego to LAX. And it's 5,000 Flying Blue points and $16 per person in taxes and fees. And so a bunch of credit card points transfers over to Flying Blue, which makes it super easy to earn those Flying Blue miles to make that booking. But here's the thing that I often forget about these 6 a.m. flights is that means I have to leave my house at 4:30 in the morning, or with a newborn at 4 a.m. And that's why I always schedule a Lyft ride the night before. The scheduling is way more reliable than hoping somebody is awake to pick up and accept my ride request at 4 a.m. in the morning. Plus, Lyft has an on-time pickup promise. If my scheduled driver is more than 10 minutes late picking me up for a ride to the airport, I can get up to $100 in Lyft credits. And honestly, they've never been late before, and I've never missed a flight before. And here's the best part. New and existing riders get 25% off one scheduled ride with my code MMP25. That's a maximum of $10 off, even if you used Lyft before. And trust me, when you're trying to catch an international flight, the last thing you want to stress out about is whether your ride will show up early in the morning. Again, the code is MMP25 and terms apply. Once we're at LAX, we're going to be flying StarLux over to Taipei. And this is where things get interesting because StarLux is one of their newer luxury airlines that connects the US over to Asia. And I've been wanting to try it for the longest time. The booking breakdown is that I spent 75,000 Alaska miles per person from LAX to Taipei. And the lap infant ticket is 10% of the full fare cash adult business class fare. If we were paying cash, it would have been $5,000 per person each way. And so 10% of $5,000 is $500. And so the lap infant ticket was $500 each way. So kind of expensive for a lap infant ticket, and the lap infant doesn't even get their own seat. Some airlines are free, some airlines charge 10% of the adult full fare cash fare. And so we're booking through StarLux through Alaska Airlines because they have a special partnership. And StarLux is currently not part of any major airline alliances, but airlines like Alaska Airlines have that special partnership, so you can book with Alaska miles. We're also flying StarLux on the way back from Taipei to Ontario, and Ontario is considered an LA area airport, but it's actually quite far from LA. And that's the same deal on that, 75,000 Alaska miles per person. Round trip for my wife and I is 300,000 Alaska miles, plus those taxes and fees, $500 each way for Oliver, our baby. And so $1,000 total for Oliver round trip in business class on StarLux, and he doesn't even get his own seat. So how did I earn those Alaska miles? Well, this strategy is not really possible anymore. A couple months ago, American Express still transferred to Hawaiian Airlines, and then Hawaiian Airlines were convertible into Alaska miles, but American Express ended that partnership with Hawaiian Airlines. So you're no longer able to transfer American Express points over to Hawaiian Airlines. And so earning Alaska miles is a little tougher now. You can still transfer Bilt points over to Alaska Airlines. And so that's still an option, but the American Express loophole is now closed. So once we get into Taipei, we're gonna be staying at a Hyatt JDV hotel, which is the episode Dan Hotel. And we stayed at the Grand Hyatt last time in Taipei in 2023 or so. So we wanted to try something different. The cash rate for the 4 nights that we're staying is $933, but we're not paying that. Instead, we're using points, a total of 48,000 Hyatt points for the 4 nights that we're staying in Taipei. And Chase points transfers over to the World of Hyatt, also Bilt points as well. That's how we're kind of earning those points. It was a mix of Chase and Bilt points together. Now, after Taipei, we're headed over to Danang, Vietnam. And my family is from Vietnam. My dad's side is actually from the Danang area. So it's like a beachy town. It's some nice beaches, kind of resorts. And we're just gonna do a pretty laid back couple days in Danang, relax and not do much. It's much more busy now these days compared to like 5-10 years ago, but it's still a fun town to kind of enjoy the beach and enjoy resort life and just kick back by the pool and swim in the ocean and just really not do much. To get there, we're flying EVA Air, so Taipei to Danang, and that's 12,500 Air Canada Aeroplan points per person plus 63 Canadian dollars, which is around like 45 US dollars each way per person. Lap infants through Air Canada Aeroplan is 2,500 points each way. So 2 people round trip plus a lap infant, a total of 55,000 points total. And a lot of credit card points transfers over to Air Canada Aeroplan. And the cash price for such a short flight, it's only a 2.5 hour flight. It's actually quite expensive. For my wife and I round trip, it would have cost $1,250 in economy, so that's pretty expensive. We're getting pretty good value on our points by transferring them over to Air Canada Aeroplan to make that booking, and so points totally make sense in this situation. I often get asked like, when do I use points or when do I use cash? Well, it comes down to, do I feel like spending money or do I feel like using my points? People would say like, I didn't get 3 cents per point or 4 cents or 5 cents per point on my redemption. Well, I don't really care. It's my points. I value however that I want to value them, as long as I'm not leaving points on the table. I check the transfer portals, I check transferring points and see which one requires the fewest amount of points. And then I also consider cash bookings as well if the cash price is low enough. And then I can just kind of make my decision from there. Do I feel like paying cash or do I feel like using points? That's kind of just how I decide. Cent per point doesn't determine how I travel and what I redeem my points for. You redeem your points however you want, and you value your points however you want. Now, with that said, in Danang, we're staying at the Hyatt Regency, and this time we're not using points, paying cash, because we're staying at a 3-bedroom villa that's on the beachfront. It's not bookable with points, and we're traveling with both sets of grandparents, and so we booked a 3-bedroom beachfront villa, which would be way more fun than having individual rooms, and we'll have way more space. The villa is $668 per night, and it's 3,300 square feet, has a private pool, a big living room area, and a full kitchen, and it's beachfront, and so the total cost for 3 nights is around $2,300, which is expensive for Vietnam, but is relatively pretty cheap compared to what you typically get for like $600 a night anywhere else in the world. So it's kind of like our splurge for the trip is staying at the Hyatt Regency Danang in that 3-bedroom villa beachfront, which is a pretty big unit. Afterwards, we're heading over to Hoi An, which is a small charming town near Danang, which is really not far, and we wanted to try out the IHG Vignette Hotel, which is a newish hotel. I think it was an existing hotel and they added it to the IHG portfolio, did some renovations, and now it's open as an IHG hotel. Points wise, it doesn't make sense to redeem points for it because the cash rates are pretty low there. It's $120 to $130 per night for the nights that we want to stay there. And so for the base room for 2 nights, it's going to cost us around $270. And the great thing is that the hotel is right across from the river from the old town Hoi An, which is what really piqued my interest and wanting to stay there. We've been to Hoi An plenty of times. It's just we've never kind of spent a lot of time in the area, so we're just excited to just stay across the river, hang out, relax, and walk into the old town if we feel like it. And so that's kind of the plan for Vietnam. We have a couple days after Vietnam, which we haven't decided what we want to do yet, but if we do decide to do something, I'll make sure to update this video. So adding up the total spending, we're 300,000 Alaska miles for those StarLux flights in business class, 48,000 points for those Hyatt hotels, 55,000 Air Canada Aeroplan points for the round trip tickets from Taipei to Danang and back. There's those 10,000 flying blue miles to go from San Diego up to LAX, plus all those taxes and fees, so total around close to 400,000 credit card points. And I'm getting business class flights, luxury hotels, visiting multiple countries in Asia. 400,000 credit card points, probably worth around like $4,000 at a baseline, and the sticker price for the travel that we're doing, it's gonna cost like $10,000, $15,000, $20,000. We're getting a pretty good deal by just redeeming our points, and that's what points are for. They kind of unlock some great opportunities for some luxury travel, or maybe even economy travel as well. For example, that EVA Air flight that we're flying, it just makes travel a little bit more affordable. And as a quick note on the baby travel stuff, we're doing this with a 3-month-old, and so this should be pretty interesting. I think it changes how we kind of travel a little bit. We're setting expectations low for this travel. We're not doing a ton of exploration, and that's one of the reasons why we picked locations or places where we've been to before. So we're not like hard pressed to be like, oh, we have to go see this, go see this. We're just gonna make a wish list of things we want to do, and then maybe tackle 1 or 2 things, or maybe no things, and just kind of see how like our baby's doing. And if we don't get to that list, then that's fine. We'll come back and visit another time. And that's also why we're spending multiple days at each places, because there's no pressure to do everything in a short time frame. It's just one of the realities of traveling with a kid. And if you're looking to book a trip like this, my biggest tip is flexibility. My recommendation is to make a list of where you want to travel to, and then when a deal pops up, book it and cross that destination off that list. Don't lock yourself into wanting to go to the Maldives in January in 2026, and that's the only thing you want to do. Make it a list. And so say you want to go to the Maldives, Vietnam, Thailand, Taiwan, and if a deal pops up for Vietnam or the Maldives or Thailand or Taiwan, then just go ahead and book it, cross it off the list, and then you have a couple other destinations to tackle. Don't narrow yourself into a specific destination for a specific time frame. Be super flexible, and you'll find that you'll have more opportunities to maximize your credit card points. So I hope you enjoyed this transparency of what I do with my credit card points. Remember to like and subscribe button down below. I'll put more videos on redemption breakdowns on the screen right now for my other vacations in the past years, and you can go check that out to give you ideas of how you can redeem your credit card points for maximum value for some of your trips that you have in mind. Thanks for watching this far, and I'll see you guys in the next one.